With the messy handling of Katai and the whole Prelude situation, I'm slowly starting to accept that maybe Hybe uses rage bait marketing. It's like they've noticed K-pop stans hate hype groups into success, and they've decided to fully capitalize on that. Quick background for anyone who isn't aware of Prelude's history. HybeXGeffen Records teamed up in 2021 with this idea of making global girl groups. Their first real shot at it was a show called The Debut Dream Academy, which gave us Katai. Katai worked well. They built a fan base, they had a Netflix documentary, people actually cared about a global girl group. Katai was a success. So naturally, HybeXGeffen looked at what they had done and decided to run the same play again. This time with contestants that didn't make the final lineup. Emily Calavas, Lexi Levin, and Samara Sequeira, all former Dream Academy contestants who did not make it into Katai, were announced on 3 consecutive days. The 4th spot was left open for a Japanese girl to win through the show, which aired on Abema from February to May 2026. In August 2025, they announced World Scout, the final piece, a Japanese survival show that was meant to find the 4th and final member of their next global girl group. 3 of those 4 spots were already filled before the filming even started. Over 14,000 girls applied for that one spot. 2 made it to the finale, 19-year-old Kuwahara Ayana and 16-year-old Tobi Sakura. Sakura won. The group's official name turned out to be SATINE, not Prelude like everyone had assumed. And of course, the internet completely lost it. Now, the whole Sakura issue aside, some of the existing members of this group are quite controversial right from the jump. Emily gets a lot of hate for her visuals, but had been a fan favorite in Dream Academy due to her dance skills. Her vocals also aren't the strongest. She's more of a dancer than a singer. Samara, however, is a whole different story. Prior to her being announced as a member of Prelude, she had been in serious controversy before. Samara became one of the most talked about contestants on the survival show The Debut Dream Academy after she was involved in an online controversy during the competition in 2023. The issue began when fans discovered that her TikTok account had allegedly liked several videos that many people considered offensive or politically insensitive. Some of the content was criticized for being disrespectful towards Indians and Chinese people, while other videos were connected to the Israel-Palestine conflict. Because Dream Academy promoted itself as a global and diverse project, the backlash quickly spread across social media. Many fans felt disappointed and argued that contestants in an international group should be careful about the messages they support online. Some people defended Samara, saying that liking a video does not always mean agreement, and that some of the accusations may have been misunderstood or taken out of context. The controversy divided the fan community and became one of the biggest discussions surrounding the show. Although HybeXGeffen never released a full official statement about the situation, it was believed that the scandal affected Samara's public image and may have influenced her chances of debuting in the final group Katai because she used to rank high prior to everything. She was considered one of the strongest vocalists in the show. In the end, she did not make the final lineup, but the controversy remains a major part of discussions about Dream Academy and its contestants. She alone was the reason Prelude was getting hate right from the members' announcement. Lexi's controversy mostly came from her decision to leave the competition in 2023, even though she was considered one of the strongest contestants. At the time, HybeXGeffen released a statement saying that Lexi felt pursuing a spot in a girl group no longer matched her professional goals. Later, through interviews and the Netflix documentary Popstar Academy Katsai, fans learned that Lexi was uncomfortable with the survival show environment. She reportedly disliked how contestants were ranked against each other and felt the process was emotionally unhealthy.
What made you decide to leave, and was that a hard decision to make?
It was a hard decision because I also I wanted that really badly. Like, I would do almost anything to get in the group. Everything that was like brought up like in the documentary, we didn't even know it was going to be a show. We knew that that was their plan when we saw the documentary. Like Dream Academy, like when people were voting and stuff, they tell the audience that like, we're not telling the girls just yet, but this is the plan. And I was like, I'm just gonna like go with it. I think that we all worked so hard that I don't think any of us actually like deserve that. I think we all just wanted to showcase our passion. For me, I really wanted to show like my genuine like side, and I wanted to show like my whole self, not just like a perfect picture of myself and like an image. I think it was so meant for me to be here, but it's also meant for me right now to step out.
With her being announced in the Prelude lineup, she was being labeled as a hypocrite that was contradicting herself. Plus, she already has the title of company favorite. People called the lineup Cat's Eye Rejects because what was the point of having a survival show when contestants that didn't make it can still re-debut in the same company regardless? Some people said that the Prelude lineup was the original member lineup Hybe wanted without fan voting involved, and that Hybe favors them with them getting better music than Cat's Eye. People also pointed out that it felt too soon for Cat's Eye to already have a sister group forming. Cat's Eye has barely settled into their career, and Hybe was already creating another global girl group. So before World Scout had even aired a single episode, Prelude was already managing a racism controversy, a narrative about being unwanted Dream Academy discards, and a general feeling that this was the actual lineup Hybe wanted rather than Cat's Eye. World Scout, the final piece, aired on Abima starting February 24, 2026. Out of 14,000 applicants from across Japan, 300 made it to the first audition round. From there, only 25 were selected to move on, and the show eventually narrowed the field down to 19 contestants that audiences actually got to follow properly. The structure was your standard survival show format. Rounds of elimination, group missions, individual missions, the whole thing. The studio panel watching all of these included Japanese Hybe artists like LeSseraphim Sakura and Kazuha, Ailith Mocha and Iroha, judges including Son, and Fifth Harmony member Lauren. By the time the show reached its finale, the fan favorite was clearly Ayana. She was 19, she was vocally stronger and overall more talented. She was old enough to fit into a mature aesthetic that everyone presumed Prelude would go. Watching the rewrite performance, they all blended so well. There was chemistry, vocals, energy. They looked like a complete group. It made sense for her to win. She had everything required, like there was no reason why she couldn't have won. Then Sakura won and people could not process it. People called the whole show rigged. The argument was pretty simple. Ayana was the better, more complete performer and singer, and Hybe picked Sakura anyways because she has potential, like potential being in the future when the group is supposed to be debuting in a couple months. The judges' excuse for Ayana not debuting was because she blended so much, which I feel is the judges looking for anything to justify her losing. Because she stood out a lot in the rewrite performance, she has a lot of vocal moments and harmonizes with Tamara, compared to the party before the party performance with Sakura, where Sakura just has a few lines of her saying turn it up. We often see contestants get criticized for standing out too much in survival shows, so I don't even understand how her blending in was supposed to be a bad thing. So the reasoning just doesn't make sense. It's like the judges didn't want her in the first place, and we're jumping through hoops to defend that choice, because everything they say is contradictory. I want to be genuinely careful here because Sakura is 16 years old and she did not design any of this. She competed, she won, and now she has to live in the aftermath of decisions that adults made. This is not her fault. But Hybe's decision to pick her, that I can absolutely criticize. Sakura, who is freshly 16 years old, emerged as the winner of the competition, and hence the final member of the group. After she was announced as the final member, people were baffled by the decision, especially given her age difference from the rest of the group and the fact that she was the less talented choice. Let me paint the full picture. Emily is 20, Samara is 20, Lexi is 21. There are legal adults that could do a mature concept if they wanted to, and no one would have an issue with it. And Hybe decided the perfect addition to this group was a 16-year-old who, by most accounts from fans who watched the show closely, was nowhere near the same level of vocal or performance readiness as the runner-up Ayana, who was 19 years old. People have expressed concern over placing a minor in a lineup where a more mature concept was expected, and many were upset that Sakura was chosen over Ayana, who many had as their favorite and most expected to debut. Sakura won because of potential, not because of what she showed in the competition. I haven't seen anyone defend her by saying she's the more talented or qualified choice to debut over Ayana with any proof, so that says a whole lot about the situation. I can't seem to understand HybeXGeffen's logic behind this choice. Why would they go with the lesser talented person that isn't even a fan favorite? Hybe should have just announced Sakura as the final member. There was no need to show us a survival show because it's not favoring anybody, like at all. It's not favoring the group, it's not favoring Sakura, it's not favoring the judges, especially Son. It's not favoring HybeXGeffen. Sure, Sakura made a lot of progress, but she's just not ready. If they wanted Sakura so bad, they should have made her a Hybe trainee to debut in another group in the future. She's still very young and, like they said, still has a lot of potential. So there's no problem in retaining her to debut in another group in the future after she has reached set potential. The problem is that it's setting Sakura up for a specific kind of hate and suffering that I feel like nobody is talking about enough. First of all, she can't properly speak English, and she's supposed to debut in an English-speaking global girl group.
Good. Yes. And for Sakura, I'd say optimistic. Mistake? Optimistic. Mistake. No. It's okay. Like positive. Positive. Yes, like mindset. Yes.
Optimistic, positive.
Yeah.
Positive.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. It's good. Good. Okay. Do you wanna go? Sure. Don't forget. Thank you. What? Do you want to say it in Japanese? 感謝を忘れないようにする。Stay grateful. Grateful. Oh, stay grateful.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay.
Very, very good.
Here. Yeah. Okay. One more each. One more.
Also, the other three girls have been doing press together, going to events together, building chemistry together for months now. The trio announced via a vlog-style YouTube video that they had moved in together and they attended Coachella 2026 together, all before Sakura was even announced. There are group photos and group moments that Sakura was not part of. The fandom had already started forming around 3 people. Sakura is being dropped into a situation where she is the outsider. She is the youngest, the most controversial pick, and she is the one fans already decided they did not want. She is like 10 steps behind the group in every possible aspect. This is a recipe for her becoming the least popular member. Sakura is already being set up to be the most hated member. Somehow, she is going to be more hated than Samara, who was once the most controversial pick, because people have started appreciating Samara for, and I quote, carrying the group's vocals, while Sakura is being hated for being the least talented member. The combination of being underaged in an adult group, being chosen over a fan favorite, and being brought in at the last second after the other 3 had already built public interactions together, all of that is going to follow her. And the hate that K-pop stans are capable of directing at a member they never wanted is insane. Hybe should know this, but yet. What is going to happen the first time the group performs something with a more mature concept? People are going to look at a 16-year-old on that stage and have feelings about it. And the comparisons between Sakura and the other three are going to be relentless because the gap in experience and readiness is very visible. Prelude being a possible R&B group means that they will eventually have to have these more mature lyrics and suggestive choreography like we saw with We Ride. With Sakura there, they're constantly going to receive backlash if they were to do that. We saw what happened with Cat's Eye. She is being set up to spend the first 2 years of her career being described as the weakest link by people who never wanted her there to begin with. She is being set up for years of hate. Sakura is somehow now the most controversial member of Prelude. Now let's talk about the group's music problem. SATINE is being presented as a vocally serious group. The whole concept is about sophistication and musicality. Their name supposedly means something about outstanding charisma and elegant sound. They are making R&B leaning music from what we've heard. The problem is that when you listen to what the group actually sounds like together, you quickly notice that everyone is living in the same vocal neighborhood. Samara Sequeira has perhaps the strongest pure vocal reputation in the group, consistently ranking among Dream Academy's most technically reliable contestants, earning attention for both power and emotional control during live stages. So Samara is a strong vocalist. Emily is primarily a performer and dancer first, and vocalist second. Lexi has vocal ability but is in a similar register to Samara. And Sakura is 16 and still developing. The issue is not that any individual member is terrible. The issue is what you get when you put them all together. You have a group of sopranos and high-range vocalists with nobody sitting in the lower range to anchor harmonies and give the music depth. Good vocal harmonization needs range. It needs someone sitting in the middle or the bottom to give the sopranos somewhere to land. Without that, your group's sound ends up being very thin and very uniform. Every harmony sounds like more of the same thing rather than layers building on top of each other. And for a group being marketed with the kind of polished, sophisticated image that SATINE is going for, that vocal flatness is going to be noticed. It was already noticed in the group's live performance of Party Before the Party at the finale, where the harmonies, while clean, did not have the weight or richness you would expect from a group positioning itself as vocally serious. Even the We Ride performance with Ayana is not an exception. She is just as high-toned as the rest, but is a better vocalist than the final choice. An R&B leaning sound, which seems to be the direction they're heading based on the general tone of what they have released, absolutely lives and dies on vocal texture. You need alto presence, you need someone who can sit in chest voice and hold the bottom. Right now, nobody in SATINE is clearly filling that role. The reaction people had to hearing the demo of Party Before the Party versus the actual official song with the members' voices says a lot. Now, I think that most of these people are overreacting and the song and vocals are nowhere near bad, but I do agree with the criticism that there is no vocal range to add more richness and soul to the songs, and that is not something you can easily fix because it's not about training harder. It's their voices, it's how they sing. It's about the fundamental makeup of the group. HybeXGeffen assembled 4 people and called it a vocal group, but they apparently did not think too hard about whether those 4 people actually complement each other sonically. The name, we have to talk about the group name. Everyone had been calling this group Prelude for months. The name had a narrative attached to it. These 3 girls were the prelude and the show was finding the final piece. And then HybeXGeffen announced the official name was SATINE and sorry, but what? According to HybeXGeffen, Saint represents outstanding musicality and charisma, and SATINE represents a soft, elegant, sophisticated image. The name is a description of what they want the group to be, not an identity the group has earned or built. Sorry, but the name sounds like a high-end luxury brand, and if they were a K-pop group, it sounds like the name of a Nugu K-pop group that would never escape Nugudom and forever remain Nugu. I very much prefer Prelude as their name. Even throughout the video, I've been addressing them as Prelude. It's just better and easier to say. To my next point, the group also looks like they have no chemistry. Their interactions are very awkward, and with Sakura, it managed to somehow be worse. Sakura seems to be struggling with English. The other members can't understand her, and she can barely understand them. Their interactions are just awkward. And since we're being honest, let me say this too. There is no visual harmony in this group. You have Emily from Texas, Samara from Brazil, Lexi from Sweden, Sakura from Japan. This is not a criticism of anyone individually. It's just the reality that 4 people from 4 completely different visual and cultural backgrounds need a strong intentional styling direction to look like they belong in the same world. Right now, based on what has been shown publicly, they look like 4 talented individuals who happen to be standing near each other. I don't know how to describe it, but you can see members of a group and it just makes sense. With Prelude or Saint Satine's case, every member is so distinct that they're clashing, and like people said, Sakura made things worse. Sakura has a very softer, tamer look compared to the rest. So you have 3 people whose individual visuals stand out so much that they clash, and a member that doesn't look like they're part of a group. Also, I just do not see the star power, honestly. None of them, at least from what we have seen so far, has that undeniable magnetism that makes strangers stop and pay attention. And with only 4 members, every gap is visible. In a larger group, you can cover weaknesses. In bigger groups, if one person is having an off night, there are over 5 or 6 others to carry it. With 4 people, everything is exposed. Looking at all of this together, the controversial lineup, the unaddressed racism allegations, the underage winner that fans actively do not want, the name nobody asks for, the compressed timeline, the vocal gaps, I keep arriving at the same question, just why? Like, what could possibly be the reason? They're definitely aware that Ayana is the more talented choice. They know that putting a minor in a group with adults is going to make people uncomfortable and vocal about it if they choose to do the mature concept. They know that the group name is kind of terrible, so are they doing all of this on purpose? I think Hybe has figured out that in the attention economy, anger and love produce similar results in the metric that matter. People who hate this group are going to stream the music to complain about it. They're going to watch the performances to point out the problems. They're going to stay in the conversation. K-pop stands specifically as some of the most committed, engaged people on the internet. They do not hate something and scroll away. They hate it for months across platforms, keeping the name alive the entire time. Hybe groups have been on the receiving end of that for years. They have watched it work on their own groups. Look at Cortez and Eyelid's recent comeback. Despite all the hate, they're achieving their best chart performances. I think at some point they stopped trying to avoid it and started trying to aim for it. Because honestly, there's no clean logic for why Sakura was picked if the goal was for the best possible group. Ayana made more sense on every level that a music company should care about. Sakura made more sense on one specific level. She's the choice that keeps people talking. She's the choice that makes this group impossible to ignore, even for the people who can't stand it. Because it just doesn't make sense to pick someone because of their potential for a group that is going to debut in a few months when there was clearly a better choice. Now, it would have been a different case if this group was set to debut in a few years from now because she would have had more time to train. But this group is set to debut in this year, so why would they pick someone for potential over someone who is clearly more talented and more ready? To me, this looks like rage bait marketing, and if I'm right, it's generally a bit cold when you consider that a 16-year-old is the bait they chose to use. They are just throwing this child to the wolves. Saint Satine is set to debut sometime this year. I keep thinking the group might actually succeed. Hybe groups somehow are successful regardless of how hated they are. I didn't think Katsai would reach this level of popularity, but here we are. But I feel like the bar for them to succeed is higher than the average group. like way high. Like I said, almost all of the members are already very hated or controversial, and they've already started getting the talentless can't sing allegations because of Sakura. The music will have to be on godly levels for people to look past all of that, because they're under Hybe, they're going to face 10 times the hate. The members are very controversial and hated, and the bar for them vocally is higher than the average K-pop group, or the average group in general, because K-pop fans have this thing for tearing Hybe groups to shreds for the tiniest vocal mistakes. Now, their group name might probably grow on people eventually, as it has happened with many other K-pop groups like LE SSERAFIM, New Jeans, and more. But the girls themselves are going to carry the cost of all of this. Sakura is going to spend years being the member people point at and say should not be there. Samara is going to have that controversy follow her into every new era. The group is going to fight against the Cat's-Eye Rejects label for probably the entirety of their first album cycle. The vocal limitations are going to be highlighted every time they try to do something ambitious musically. Their dynamics will be thoroughly nitpicked, like we've already started seeing recently. They are being set up to succeed commercially, but being set up to fail in every other aspect. They deserve better than the setup they've been handed, and I genuinely wish them the best and hope the music is good enough to give them a fighting chance. But right now, looking at all the pieces on the table, SATINE's future is filled with a lot of obstacles. But will they be able to overcome this? We shall see.